The tallest lighthouse on mainland Australia.
No drones allowed.
Beautiful day down here today.
It is.
I come south to get away from the heat. About my house today is 42.
Pretty bushy.
It is called Cape Leeuwin, which is the southwestern coast line from Australia to New Zealand. And the river got that. She was landed the next one. Some photos which I did off on Instagram. What do you mean?
So we're at the most southwesterly point of Australia, Cape Leeuwin. So some of these signs are a little bit weathered. Looks like a memorial. The walls are quite thick. How thick they are. Like about 2 big long blocks thick. It's nice in the shade, nice and cool.
And had a meeting and came to a gentleman's agreement that each other would keep or honour the names that were written on their charts. So Captain brought in at the time, the French captain, he was using a lot of Dutch charts for his travels around the west coast, and that's how we get some of the Dutch names of locations. So Cape Leeuwin is named after a Dutch vessel, as well as Cape Naturalist. And then all along the south coast you'll have Dutch names, French names. So there's a beautiful little town along the southeastern coast of Esperance that's named after one of the French vessels. So it was the agreement between the two ship's captains to keep and honour the different names on each other's charts. So they sat down, compared charts, made a lot of notes, and then that's how we get a lot of the names all up and down the coastline.
So he's talking about Matthew Flinders in there as well.
Just before we leave the little town of Augusta, if you look out towards the right as we're travelling along, just on the other side of the river, there's a little bit of bushland, and then there's a little island over there called Malloy Island. There's a few houses out on Malloy Island. It's a completely private island. You have to have a house on the island to be able to go to the island. Very popular spot for a lot of the local fisheries people to go and live on. But it gets its name after one of the early European settlers, a Georgiana Malloy. Got one of the new subdevelopments happening on the right hand side. That's starting to progress rather rapidly. There'll be houses on that by the end of the year. All part or all of their farmland. They can't just go through and clear any of the natural bushland anymore. It's all being protected. So essentially the developers have to wait for a farmer or offer the farmer enough money for them to pack up and sell to the river and public school, all in the same area. So they know where all of the kids are. Just in behind the schools is the main sporting facilities, so all the skate parks, the football fields, the hockey fields, the cricket pitches. are all in the one area. The two main cinemas and the arts building are all in that area as well. And then all of the main shops and the shopping precinct is all down in the main street, all within 1 or 2 rows. Attention, the hospital staff are only a short walk away. The wine, once the bottle was opened, they were told they had to spit the wine out. But I knew a teacher here when the program was just starting, and they said it wasn't uncommon for the teenagers to suddenly turn around and say, "Oh, oops, I accidentally drunk that one." So when they're cracking their vintage, they get a couple of extra bus services to stop the kids driving their cars home. And this is the main street of Margaret River. There's some cafes and restaurants up at this end of town. As I said, we have got a couple of hours drive to get us back to the next service centre. From there it's an hour back into the city. So if you did want to grab some snacks or something to eat, now would be a good time to do it. The service centre has a KFC, a Zamboros and a lot of snack foods. But there are a couple of good little places here. There's a good little pizzeria just into the right hand side.
Got a few shops here.
There's a little milkshake and ice creamery on the left. There's a lolly shop coming up on our right hand side. There's lots of little gift shops. There's a liquor land. The Brumby's Bakery will be open for about another 20 minutes here on the left. Got Lloyd's of Margaret River. That's sort of like a Bunnings and Kmart all into one little shop. If they haven't got it, it's probably not worth having. And then the little sort of shopping mall just on our left, we're going to be parking up just behind this row of shops. So you'll better walk through that little mall and that will bring you out here to the main street. As you can see, there's lots of little cafes, restaurants and giftware shops. There's a little fish and chip shop down the little pathway there on the left. If you just wanted another cold beverage, then you got the beautiful Settlers Tavern here on the left. They serve a lot of local beer and wine. Also you have a few locally distilled spirits as well. Or the little IGA, so they've got the little grocery store here on the left. If you just wanted to get some quick and easy snacks, that's a great place to grab some variety of snack foods before the journey home.
Don't often see draperies around anymore. Huge surf shop over there.
So there's only a couple more things to point out on the way back. Someone just mentioned the little bit of artwork that's the counterpiece to the chick on a stick. That also ties in with the pirate cow down at the lighthouse. Did anyone see the cow dressed like a pirate down at the Leeuwin Lighthouse?
How did you miss it?
So they're all tied in together. The chick on a stick is a little bit different, but there's a network series of artwork that all ties in together. But that's at the next town. Once we leave Margaret River, we're going to go through a beautiful little town of Quarramup, and that's where I'll show you. Just drive back down through the main street. When they did the redevelopment, they assured the local businesses that it would only disturb the main street traffic for 12 months. The local businesses banded together and threatened legal action to the Margaret River Council, and all of a sudden the roadway was finished. Undergoing a major refurbishment. That was purchased by one of Western Australia, or one of Australia's largest property owners, in the sense that not the most valuable property, but the largest in the area. That's owned by the Heytesbury Holdings, which is Janet Holmes-Court and her son. They own a couple of small blocks of land, one up in the Northern Territory and one over in WA, but they are undergoing a major refurbishment of the old hotel. And when they purchased it, they approached the West Australian Heritage Council and asked for their help and assistance in planning the redevelopment. They wanted it to look as close to original as they possibly could, but then completely modernise the inside. But the Heytesbury Holdings, they own a small block of land up in the Northern Territory. They've recently downsized it, like most people do when they're getting to retirement age. So Janet Holmes-Court, with her husband, they used to lease 85,000 square kilometres So just a small block of land. They've recently downsized to a very, very tiny 28,000 square kilometres. That's at a place called Victoria River Downs. It was once one of Australia's largest single largest pieces of station country. The only property holdings bigger than Vic River Downs was the Kidman holdings. So we're coming up into the little town of Quarama. But even the local lolly shop is called the Candy Cow. They do take their cow name quite seriously here. I'll just pull over a little bit to the left on the verge here. If you look into the park on the left hand side, you'll see some of the fiberglass cows.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to look up a little bit from the grass and you might see the one that's poking a little bit of fun at the chick on a stick. Can you see the one that might be having a little bit of a laugh at the chick on a stick? So down at the winery, as it, you've got the chick on a stick. Here in Cowtown, we've got the roast on a post. And you'll see there's lots of these little fiberglass cars all around the township itself. And when they put the roast on a post in, they did it without the local Shire's building approval. But it became a non-argument, someone just went, look to the left and then to the right, then to the left and then back to the right. The local pharmacy, if you look in the window of the local pharmacy, see all the little cow onesies. All those little pajamas, onesies. I'll tell you a funny story about them in a second. It gets even weirder than the fiberglass cows. My favourite one's up here on the left. You got the Margaret or the Cowtown meat specialist, the local butcher shop. And there's one there on the left walking away from the butchers. Okay, he's got his lamb chops and off they go. Yeah, there's another one laying down here on the right hand side. There's a beautiful mural on the side of this little building up here on the right hand side. That's a drawing of the koala bird. So the name Quarama comes from the local indigenous word for the place of the koala bird. You might have noticed there's a lot of ups when you go down south in WA. So the up at the end of a place name essentially is the local word for place of. So Quarama is the place of the koala bird. Nanup is the place of a particular type of rock used for tool making. Williabrup, where I pointed out a couple of wineries and the beautiful little creek, Williabrup means a place of looking out. So there's a little ridge just on the coastline there, and it was very popular for just looking out to sea. So quite a nice way of describing areas. So wherever you go down from Perth and the town ends in an up, that just simply means place of. It doesn't always mean place of water, but it just means place of something. we're just about at our little final comfort stop on the way back into the city. Only a few minutes away now from pulling into the Ampol Foodery. They have all of your normal convenience type foods, tea, coffee, hot chocolates, plenty of different soft drinks in the Ampol Foodery end of it. They also have a KFC and a Zambreros. So Zambreros is like a Tex-Mex, nachos, tacos, burritos. Again, you're more than welcome to bring food back onto the coach to either eat on the coach or take with you back into the city. Once we get back into Perth, it is going to be just after 9 o'clock, so there will be limited availability of restaurants. Perth still does like closing fairly early in the evening. In some parts of the city there will be some options still open, but you are more than welcome to bring anything back onto the coach to take back into the city or to eat while we're travelling along on the freeways. Yeah, along the highways they can sometimes take a little bit longer than the 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to be parking just on the other side of the building. As you can see, we're down at the Ampol Foodery end, so the convenience store. Down at the other end of the building, which will be closest to where we're parking, is where the KFC is. The bathroom facility is just in besides the KFC shop. And then once we leave here, we've got just under an hour up the highway and then onto the freeway to get us into the Nasuto.